Assalamu alaikum class, this is your first lecture video and we are going to start our course Maths 100 Quantitative Skills, and the first topic we are going to discuss about is numbers. So the first thing we are going to discuss about the numbers is the real line, and you can see a line over here with some numbers in which you are able to see 0, 1, 2, -1, -2 and so on. You can see that we normally have 0 at the midpoint, and we have positive numbers on the right hand side, then we have negative numbers on the left hand side, and you are able to see the number 0.5, the decimal 0.5 in between 0 and 1. So it means on the real line there are infinitely many numbers in which we are having the numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, and the numbers that are in the fraction form or even in the decimal form like 0.5, 1.5, 1.9, which is very close to 2, 2.01, which is very close to 2, and 0.0001. So here you can see 0.0001. So it means there are infinitely many real numbers between any two real numbers. Now we are going to discuss about the classification of the real numbers, or how these real numbers are distributed into different groups. So the first set we are going to discuss is the set of whole numbers. And what is the set of whole numbers? It starts from 0 and we have positive numbers in it only, that is the numbers that are greater than 0. So 1, 2, 3 and so on, these are whole numbers. This set is representing the set of whole numbers, and it is represented with the number with the alphabet W. Then we have set of natural numbers. There is a little bit difference between set of natural numbers and whole numbers, that the whole numbers starts from 0 while the natural numbers starts from 1, and the natural numbers are also positive numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, these are all natural numbers. Natural numbers also named as counting numbers. Why these are named as counting numbers? Because whenever we have to count anything, we start it from 1. For example, if I have to count the headings I'm having on this page, so I will start with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm going to talk about counting the numbers in the set, so what in this set, so what we are going to do, we will start with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. It means I'm going to have 4 numbers in this set right now. So counting numbers, natural numbers are also named as counting numbers, and these numbers starts from 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, all the positive numbers. Then we have set of integers. This may be a new thing for you, but this is not as much new. Set of integers is represented with the alphabet Z, and it contains 0, +1, +2, -1, -2, ±3, ±4 and so on. That is, in the set of integers we have all whole numbers, and we have negative numbers as well. Negative whole numbers. Negative whole numbers means the numbers that are whole numbers but along with a negative sign, like -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on. Whole numbers are the numbers that cannot have the decimals. For example, 0.5 is not a whole number, 1.5 is not a whole number, 1.2 is not a whole number because of this decimal part, or because of this fractional part, because it is some little increment in the whole number. The whole number is 1, but 1.2 overall is not a whole number. So set of integers consist of the whole numbers along with the positive and negative sign as well. So this is the set of integers. Next we have set of rational numbers and set of irrational numbers. The set of rational numbers is represented with Q, and set of irrational numbers is represented with Q prime. And rational numbers are defined in the form that the number that can be written in the form P by Q, where P and Q both are integers and Q can never be equal to 0. We all know that we cannot have 0 in the denominator, because whenever we are having 0 in the denominator, it is going to be an undefined form. So we have to avoid such undefined terms. So we have to put the condition that Q or the denominator can never be equal to 0. There is one more classification of rational numbers which is quite simple and easy, that we are just simply going to put this fractional term into the decimal, because we all know that every fraction can be turned into the decimal part or the decimal number. So decimals are basically having two types. These could be terminating or non-terminating. Terminating means stopping or ending at some point. So the decimals decimals that are going to stop or that are going to terminate or that are going to end after a particular number of digits are named as terminating decimals. For example, 0.5, 1.25, 0.01, similarly 0.0001. So the numbers or the decimals that are stopping or terminating at after some particular number of digits are named as terminating decimals, and every terminating decimal is basically a rational number, because 0.5 can be written as 1 by 2, 1.25 can be written as 125 by 100, because whenever we are going to remove the decimal, we are going to put 1 in the denominator, and the number of non-zero digits or the number of digits after it are going to be replaced with 0 in the denominator. For example, 0.01, we are going to replace this decimal with 1, and we are having 2 digits after decimal, so we are going to put 2 zeros in the denominator. So every terminating decimal can be shifted or can be transformed in fraction term. That's why it is always representing a rational number. Now come to the non-terminating ones. Now the non-terminating further having two types. It could be a repeating or non-repeating. So repeating means we are repeating the digits. For example, 1 by 3 can be write as 0.333 and so on. You can see that 3 is repeating again and again. That's why this is a repeating decimal and representing a rational number. Similarly, 1.225, 225 and so on is also a rational number, because it is a repeating decimal, as 225, 225 is repeating again and again. Now the non-repeating ones are always irrational numbers. For example, 1.2523 and so on. This is an irrational number. Square root of 2, which is 1.14 and so on. It is also an irrational number. So according to the decimal classification, terminating decimals are rational numbers. Non-terminating but repeating decimals are also represents the rational numbers, while the non-terminating, non-repeating represents the irrational numbers. Now, after defining the rational and irrational numbers, we are able to define the set of real numbers in mathematical terms. So set of real numbers is basically the union of rational and irrational numbers. Union means we are going to write down a set. Union of, if we are talking about the union of two sets, it means we are going to write down a set which belongs every element that either belongs to first set or either belongs to the second set. So union of rational and irrational numbers is equal to the set of real numbers, that every rational and irrational number in combined form are going to construct the real numbers. Next, we are going to discuss the properties of real numbers with respect to addition and with respect to multiplication. So the first one is the closure property. Now closure means closed. Closed means we are going to discuss about the closure property, that sum of any two real numbers is also a real number. So whenever we say that we are talking about the set of real numbers, that we are taking on any two numbers from the set of real numbers 2 and 3, their sum is also a real number, that it belongs to the same set. So set of real numbers is closed under addition. This is named as closure property. That closed under addition means whatever the numbers you are going to add, their resultant is not going to out of this set, because this set is closed, so the answer cannot be coming out of the set. So in general we can write it as, for all a, b belonging to r, this symbol is representing belonging to, that is a and b are elements of this set or are present in this set. So for any a, b belonging to r, a plus b, their sum also belongs to the same set r. Similarly, it holds for multiplication as well, that multiplication of any two real numbers is again a real number. For example, 2 into 5 is 10, 3 into minus 2 is minus 6, which is again a real number. So for any a, b belonging to r, their product is also belongs to the set of real numbers r. The second property is the commutative property, and the commutative property means it is irrespective of the order. Irrespective of the order means whatever the order of the operation is, the answer will be the same. For example, I have two numbers, two real numbers, 1 and minus 5. If I add 1 and minus 5, the answer is minus 4, and if I add minus 5 and 1, the answer is again minus 4. So whatever the order of addition is, the resultant is the same. This property is named as commutative property, because addition is irrespective of the order of addition. And for any a, b belonging to r, a plus b will be equal to b plus a. Obviously it also holds for multiplication as well, because because 2 into 10 will be 20, 10 into 2 will be 20, so both are the same number. So for any a b belonging to R, a cross b will always be equal to b cross a. This is named as commutative property. The third property is commutative property. It is related to the commutative property. Why this is related to, both properties are related, because associative property also represents irrespective of the order, but commutative property holds for the two numbers, associative property holds for three numbers. Now what is the associative property? As we have discussed in the previous one, that it is irrespective of the order. So now if we have three numbers, 1, minus, 10 and 8, so whatever the order of addition is, the answer must be the same. So I'm going to add 1 and minus 10 first and then 8, the answer is minus 1. And if I add minus 10 and 8 first, the answer is minus 2, and then add 1 and 8, the answer is again minus 1. So irrespective of the order for three numbers as well. So in general we can write that for any a b c belonging to R, a plus b plus c is always equal to a plus b plus c. Similarly it holds for multiplication as well, because if I am going to multiply 2 and 4 first and then 10, answer will be 18. If I am going to multiply 4 and 10 first and then 2, the answer is again 80. So this property also holds for multiplication. Next property is identity element. Identity element is basically a number that has no effect on any operation. For example, we are talking about the additive identity. So 0 is a number that it doesn't affect any operation. For example, 2 plus 0 is equal to 2 and minus 1 plus 0 is equal to minus 1. So whenever I am going to add 0 in any number, there is no effect on the number and the answer will be the same. That's why 0 is named as additive identity. But it cannot hold for multiplication, because whenever I'm going to multiply 0 with any number, the answer will be the 0, that is the number will be changed. So 0 is not a multiplicative identity, it is additive identity. Now for multiplication, we know that there is a number which when multiplied by any number, the answer is the same, which is 1. That is 2 into 1 is 2, minus 10 into 1 is minus 10. So whatever the number is, whenever we are going to multiply that number with 1, the answer remains the same. That's why 1 is named as multiplicative identity. The next property is the next property is inverse element. Inverse is basically represent the totally opposite number, and there is a rule for inverses, that whenever we are going to operate a number with its inverse, the answer must be the corresponding identity element, because we are saying that inverse is totally opposite. So whenever we are going to operate a number with some opposite operation or with some opposite number, which is basically the inverse, that then the two numbers must cancel out each other's effect, so the answer must be the identity element. So for example, we are talking about the additive inverse first. So whenever we are having a number 2 and we are going to add some number which is basically the additive inverse of 2, the answer must be the corresponding identity, which is 0, because 0 is additive identity, so the answer must be 0. We all know that 2 plus minus 2 will be equal to 0, that's why minus 2 is the additive inverse of plus 2. Similarly, if we have the number minus 10 and we have to find out a number which is basically the additive inverse of minus 10 in order to get 0, then 10 will be the number that when we are going to add 10 in minus 10, the answer will be the 0. So we can define it in journal that for any a belonging to R, minus a belonging to R will be named as the additive inverse of a. So here you can see that we are just going to change the sign of the number and we get the additive inverse. But for multiplicative inverse, we have the same rule that for example, if 2 is the number, we have to find out a number which when multiplied by 2, the answer must be equal to the multiplicative identity, which is 1. So 2 into 1 by 2 will be equal to 1. That's why 1 by 2 is a multiplicative inverse of 1. Similarly, for minus 10, we know it is minus 10 into 1 by minus 10. So minus 10 will be cancelled out and answer will be equal to 1. That's why 1 over minus 10 is the multiplicative inverse of minus 10. So we are just taking the reciprocal of the number in order to get the multiplicative inverse, so that if a is the number, then 1 over a will belongs to R, which is named as the multiplicative inverse, because a into 1 over a will be equal to 1. So this is how we can define the multiplicative inverses. Here we have the distributive property of multiplication over addition. It is clear by the name that we are going to distribute an operation over the second one. For example, we are having two operations, addition and multiplication. So 1 plus 2 into 5, we are going to distribute this multiplication over addition. That is, we are going to divide it into two parts. So at first we will solve it. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 into 5 is 15. On the other side, if I am going to distribute into the two parts, that is, I am going to perform multiplication first. So 1 into 5 plus 2 into 5 is going to be 1 into 5 is 5, then 5 into 2 is 10, so 5 plus 10 is going to be 15. So this is named as the distribution of an operation over the second one. So a plus b into c will be equal to a into c plus b into c, or even a into b plus c is also equal to a into b plus a into c. So whatever the order of multiplication, it doesn't affect the property. Thank you.